say this? Getting ice dick, don't wait up. That is a quote. It's your boy Icon with a DC TV review. Jesus Christ. Going over that Harley Quinn. So now Gordon's back, and I don't remember Gordon losing his job because apparently he said he was retired, and I don't remember how that happened. He's with his wife. They're about to get it on, and then Nora Freeze called him and said that they're looking for a security position. They're looking to fill a security position, and they offered Gordon a security job at the Legion of Doom, which he accepted and left his wife stranded in a cabin somewhere in the woods in the snow. So now he's at the Legion of Doom. Ivy's at the Legion of Doom, and while she's at the Legion of Doom, she's mentoring 3 villains. One was the son, I guess, of Swamp Thing? I'm not sure. The other was Tara, who's not the Tara we're used to seeing. It's more of a bigger, bolder Marissa from Street Fighter looking Tara, and the fire chick who spits fire. She's been in the last few episodes. So Ivy's mentoring them, trying to empower them into the next generation of villainy. But then Lex Luthor shows up, and then Ivy was surprised because she was just like, I'm surprised you don't hate me, or you're not trying to get your revenge for what happened on the moon. And he was just like, no, darling. He was just like, you crushed it on the moon and blah, blah, blah. I was just being upset. Don't worry about it. Because the thing is now that Lex knows that Ivy's the talk of the town, he's trying to horn in on her success like through him. So he was just like, I'm just going to give you a PR team. He hooks her up with these 4 PR guys that are very swanky, and they're giving her tips on her social media and rebuilding her image. So they basically do a lot of things for her. They give her photo shoots, they give her new clothes, they do her hair, they book her on talk shows, they have her do all these things to get social media attention to reach people all across the globe. Now what's happening is, at first Ivy wasn't really feeling it, but then once she started getting notarized and people started cheering for her and everything, she started getting more and more into it. They decided to build a statue for her in front of the Legion of Doom, and now she's all in. Like she's drunk the Kool-Aid, and she's all into the whole glitz and the glamour, becoming an influencer and everything, like an evil influencer, and she's sucked into the life of the celebrity. The problem now is she's neglecting the 3 people she was supposed to mentor. Earlier, she told them to come up with some things that they could do where they can come up with some evil villainy and do some evil villain things, but the ideas that they came up with weren't really the greatest. They needed to be tweaked a little. They were looking for her for guidance, but because she was wrapped up in being a social media personality, she wasn't really giving them the attention that they deserved. So they ended up trying to do the thing on their own, and they fucked it up. So after they fucked up the plan, they went to go talk to her to try to get some guidance. She was at the unveiling of her statue, and she kind of blew them off. And then after that, they kind of, they were a little upset, and you could tell some things are going to happen because now they feel slighted. They're upset, they're disappointed, and Ivy's basically like living the lap of luxury and, social media influency and villainy and all this other cool stuff. So now she's a celebrity. Meanwhile, on the Bat Fam side of it, the Bat family, they're in an alley taking down criminals. And Harley's fucking the whole thing up because she's crashing into people, she's knocking into people, and then we find out that Harley doesn't have night vision. More so, she has bad eyesight where she can't see at night, and because of that, she's ruining the Bat missions, and Nightwing's getting upset. Nightwing was an ass to her the entire episode. He was being a total dick, and they were going back and forth, and she was trying to earn Nightwing's respect, who didn't like her at all, especially being on the team. Harley was just like, oh, but I made you guys friendship bracelets. And he was like, we're not friends. And then she was just like, oh, but you're not going to wear the bracelets, but we're supposed to be the Bat family. And he was like, we're not a family. He was like, we're just, we're a bunch of people that just fight crime together. He's like, we're not a family, whatever. So now she's feeling some kind of way. So in order for her to get back into the good graces of the Bat family, she goes to the eye doctor to get laser vision surgery so she could see better at night. And I thought this was dope. The person who gave her the laser eye surgery to fix her eyes was Supergirl. Supergirl is an eye doctor that lives in Gotham. And what made it even funnier, she was wearing her Supergirl costume and she still had the white coat on. And I'm just like, are we not supposed to know this is Supergirl? Like, she did a horrible job of like hiding her secret identity. And I thought that was really funny, like her being a doctor. So Supergirl fixes her eyes, and then while she's at the eye doctor, Supergirl told her that, listen, she said, you need to have somebody come pick you up from the, from the office, because if you don't have anybody pick you up from the office, we're going to have to reverse the laser surgery just so you can be able to see and get home, because she had to wear glasses and she couldn't really see for a little bit. So she needed somebody to help her get back to her house. So she was calling everybody. Nightwing told her to kick rocks. Other people weren't answering. Ivy wasn't answering. She ended up calling Batgirl. Batgirl didn't answer, which was a shock. But Harley called Batgirl so many times that her Batgirl's roommate ended up picking up the phone, and she came down to the doctor's office to go pick up Harley. when she went to go pick her up, she said to Harley, she was just like, wow, you're freaking Harley Quinn. I used to be a big fan of yours. And then she's like, what do you mean used to be? She said, well, when you were a villain, I thought you were cool, but now you work for the Bat family, so you're pretty much a cop now. And then Harley was feeling some kind of way about that because she already has like certain reservations about no longer being evil. Harley ends up going back to the Batcave, and then she's talking to Nightwing, and the Nightwing's like, oh, we're being picked off one by one. He was like, Robin's missing. And then she was like, no, he's not missing. He's just with his mom. And then he's like, oh, Barbara's missing. And then she was just like, well, shit. Her roommate did say she hasn't been around for a few days, but she always disappears for days at a time. And then he was like, yeah, she disappears for days at a time because she's hanging out with us fighting crime. And then there's like, fuck, Barbara's missing. So now Harley's trying to find Barbara. Nightwing doesn't want to help because he's just like, I can do everything on my own. So Harley ends up getting the roommate to help her search for Barbara. They go through Barbara's stuff. They end up going through her phone, and they find out that she made some purchases at a store in a cabin up in the woods or whatever where there's like snow and all this other shit. While they're making the drive up there, Harley ends up sleepwalking again like she did in the previous episode, and she ended up like grabbing the wheel and crashed them into a tree. The roommate ended up saying, she was like, well, maybe you're sleepwalking because you're suppressing desires of wanting to be a villain. And then she's like, no, that can't be it. That's basically it. So they go to the campsite, they find out where Barbara made the purchase on her credit card, and when they get up to the cabin, they see a bunch of ice villains like Captain Cold, Icicle Jr., some robot looking thing, etc. Harley starts fighting them, beating everybody up, and while she's beating everybody up, then Barbara shows up. They're just like, oh, why are you here? Like, what are you doing up here? And then Barbara said basically, when Gordon abandoned her mom in the beginning of the episode at the cabin, her mom called her so she can drive up there and pick her up. When Barbara got there to pick up her mom, she was hanging out with her mom for a little bit, but then her mom ended up ditching her because when she saw the Cold villains up there, she decided to go party with the Cold villains because right before, Gordon left her, the two of them were about to get it on. So I'm assuming her mom was still all hot and bothered, and when she saw the Icicle villains, that's when she told her, she's like, I'm about to get this Cold dick, so don't wait up. And then she left to go hang out with the Cold people. Batgirl ended up staying at the cabin, and then she brought Harley in, and then her and Harley were talking, and then Harley was just like, oh, Nightwing hates me, and he doesn't, all the stuff I'm doing, he doesn't want me to be a part of the team. And then she's just like, no, you just can't fit a square peg in a round hole. You got to give it some time, and then just be easy, and then Nightwing will eventually warm up. So while they were sitting by a campfire, Harley looked up, and she saw Nightwing sitting in a tree. And then when she saw Nightwing sitting in a tree, she was like, wow, he has the bracelet on, that I made for him. But then Nightwing fell out of the tree and crashed onto the fireplace. So he's unconscious somehow? I don't know how that happened. That was how the episode ended. And thank you for tuning in. So here's my theory. Because we've already admitted that Harley is sleepwalking, and she's sleepwalking due to suppressed memories of her wanting to be a villain, we're going to find out in the next episode that Harley, due to her sleepwalking, because there was a moment where when Harley and Nightwing got into an argument, Harley got mad. She went back to Barbara's apartment and she slept in Barbara's room, and she said she slept for 8 hours. You're going to find out in that 8-hour period, she was sleepwalking. She ran up on Nightwing, beat him up, knocked him unconscious, and put that friendship bracelet on his wrist. So when I guess Nightwing was like knocked out, he was unconscious, whatever. When Nightwing comes to, he's going to be like, Harley attacked me, she's really a villain. It's going to be like this whole big thing. That's my theory for that. But share your questions, comments, and concerns on where you think the show's going from here, because we never got an ending to the Ivy situation. It was just like 1 minute she was mentoring some people, she blew them off to become a superstar, and then that was it. Like nothing ever happened to that. We found out that Gordon is sleeping in the Legion of Doom, like on the basement floor. Oh, and then Harley wearing her bat costume, like her Harley Quinn bat costume. When I saw that thing for the first time, I said, for the love of God, this is going to be the costume everybody wears at Comic-Con. But share your questions, comments, and concerns, and we'll continue to talk about this episode of Harley Quinn. Check out my other reviews because I got Warrior Up on the channel. We got one more episode left going into the season finale. Check out my reviews for My Adventures of Superman, which is crushing it, and I can't wait for episode 6 of Harley Quinn. So that was it, guys. So until next time, for some more Harley Quinn action, take care. Please don't get no ice dick. We're out this.